Max Verstappen is undoubtedly the best driver on the grid, and this explains why he goes into every race as the favourite. But for all his dominance, the Dutch sensation sometimes has to dig deep to manufacture victories from the most unlikely situations. With that said, join us as we explore the 6 most impossible wins of Verstappen's career. 2016 Spanish Grand Prix. When it was announced that Max Verstappen would replace Danny Kvyat at Red Bull ahead of the 2016 Spanish Grand Prix, expectations were set at the barest minimum. However, at the end of the race weekend, Verstappen exceeded these expectations by a mile. It all started in qualifying, where the young Dutchman lined his car in 4th. Fast forward to Sunday, Verstappen stormed away from the start line, looking to make a big statement to everyone who underrated him before the race. And that's exactly what he did, albeit with some help from Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. The 2 Mercedes drivers occupied the front row in qualifying and the early stages of the race. However, an unfortunate crash saw both of them retire before the second lap. With the 2 fastest cars on the grid out of the race, Verstappen seized the opportunity to jump in front on lap 27. And despite a late charge by Kimi Raikkonen, Verstappen stayed calm to cross the finish line in P1.
Max Verstappen wins a Formula 1 Grand Prix, wins the Spanish Grand Prix, and is the youngest driver ever.
This fantastic debut performance made Verstappen the youngest race winner in F1 history, and more importantly, it underscored his readiness to compete in a powerhouse team like Red Bull. "It feels amazing," Verstappen said after the race.
So amazing feeling, I think also for the whole country in Holland.
I can't believe it. It was a great race. I have to say thank you to the team to give me such a great car to win straight away in the first race. Amazing feeling. 4-time world champion Sebastian Vettel also extended his heartfelt congratulations to the young Dutchman. "I think first of all, many congratulations to Max. It's a great achievement, and in the end, it's his day." 2018 Austrian Grand Prix. As he did on his Red Bull debut, Verstappen started the 2018 Austrian Grand Prix in P4 behind Valtteri Bottas, Kimi Raikkonen and Lewis Hamilton. With the exception of Bottas, every driver ahead of Verstappen in the starting grid had tasted Formula 1 success at some point in their career. Going by this record, a win for Verstappen in the race was unthinkable. Well, that was until lap 14, when Valtteri Bottas retired from the race due to a gearbox failure, and the virtual safety car was introduced. This meant that the drivers had to decide whether to stay out or dive into the pit lane for a tyre change. Race leader Lewis Hamilton chose the former, while Verstappen opted to swap his tyres, a decision that would ultimately turn the tide of the race in his favour. In fact, the significance of this smart strategy was such that by the time Hamilton headed into the pit lane, Verstappen coasted unchallenged into P1, where he'd eventually finish the race ahead of Kimi Raikkonen and Daniel Ricciardo. As you'd imagine, the sight of Verstappen winning the race from P4 was a delight for the sea of Dutch supporters, who had travelled from Netherlands to Austria to cheer their hero to victory. "It's amazing winning the race and seeing all the fans here," Verstappen explained. "We're in Austria, it's a 10 to 11 hour drive from Holland, so yeah, amazing that they all came over here." Now, please take a moment to cheer us on by smashing the like button on your screen. Now back to the video. 2022 Italian Grand Prix. Verstappen clinched his first ever victory in Italy at the 2022 Italian Grand Prix, and it was a remarkable event, especially given the circumstances that preceded the race. Before the cars assembled for a warm-up lap, the entire grid, including Verstappen, observed a moment of silence to pay respect to Queen Elizabeth II, who had passed away a few days earlier. Once that was out of the way, it was time for Verstappen to focus on the uphill task of making the most out of his P7 finish in qualifying. Considering his starting position, a podium finish would have been a great result, but apparently the Dutch sensation had even bigger plans. As soon as the lights went out, he was up and about, harassing every car in front of him. By lap 4, he had climbed up to P3. 1 lap later, he steered his RB18 past George Russell into P2 behind Charles Leclerc.
Verstappen is gaining, it's down to under 20 metres, it's down now to absolute level pegging, through to the chicane we go. Max Verstappen is ahead of George Russell, and he has put that Red Bull up into second place.
Verstappen would eventually wrestle P1 from Leclerc on lap 26, and despite some heroic efforts by Leclerc to reclaim the position, Verstappen held on tight, eventually finishing 2.4 seconds ahead of the Monegasque driver, albeit behind the safety car. This incredible comeback victory was a testament to Verstappen's overtaking prowess and his ability to grind out victories in unfavourable situations. "Yeah, we had a great race," Verstappen said. "On every compound we were quickest, and the deg was very good, so we really had a good race car. I was just controlling the gap at the end, but of course then the safety car came out. Unfortunately, we didn't get a restart, but overall we had again a really good day." 2023 Miami Grand Prix. Now, Verstappen's outing at the 2023 Miami Grand Prix started in the worst possible way, as he finished P9 in qualifying. However, like the closing scene of a fairy tale movie, his weekend ended on a high. Despite his poor qualifying record, Verstappen made a rocket start, sweeping through the field with a series of daring moves. By lap 20, the Dutch driver found himself behind teammate and race leader Sergio Perez, but he wasn't ready to settle for the runner-up spot. So, following his pit stop on lap 45, Verstappen chased down Perez relentlessly. 2 laps later, the inevitable happened as Verstappen dethroned Perez to become the race leader.
He's got no other choice. The ball's wheel to wheel and round the outside. Will it be the lead? It's close between the two of them. The crowd are roaring and Max Verstappen takes the lead of the Miami Grand Prix
and ultimately clinched the maximum 25 points on offer. In addition to winning the race, Max Verstappen set the fastest lap and was also voted the driver of the day, which once again highlights his ability to do unbelievable things on the track. Speaking after the race, Verstappen said, "Today we just kept it calm, we kept it clean, and yeah, for sure, winning the race from P9 is always very satisfying." 2022 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Since his magnificent debut season in 2015, Max Verstappen has always been known for his tenacious driving style. However, at the 2022 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, the Dutch sensation showed fans and analysts alike that there are more sides to his driving than just being fierce, bold and aggressive. Rather than his usual tenacious approach, we saw a different Verstappen, one that prioritised patience over brute force and race strategy over uncalculated moves, and it ultimately paid off. The race kicked off with Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen pushing themselves to the limit in an intense wheel-to-wheel battle. This rivalry lasted throughout the race before culminating in a dramatic shootout in the final 10 laps of the race. During this time, both racers switched position 3 times as they tried to stake a claim on the big prize. But in the end, Verstappen vaulted past his Monegasque rival with 4 laps to go.
Charles Leclerc can't cover him off. Verstappen takes the lead at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix
and held on until the end to secure what would go down as one of the most thrilling and competitive races of his F1 career. "We were battling hard at the front. We just tried to play the long game," Verstappen explained. "Ferrari were really quick in the corners. We were quick on the straight. It wasn't easy, playing smart tricks in the last corner, but eventually I managed to get ahead." 2023 Mexican Grand Prix. In a season where Max Verstappen and Red Bull dominated literally every qualifying and racing event, Ferrari locked out the front row at the 2023 Mexican Grand Prix. As if that wasn't surprising enough, Red Bull endured an underwhelming qualifying session where Max Verstappen lined up in 4th and home favourite Checo Perez placed 5th. To make things worse, the 100,000 Mexican fans around the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez circuit had their hearts broken after a nasty crash knocked Perez out of the race. This prompted the introduction of the virtual safety car, which in turn presented Verstappen with an opportunity to go in front of the pack. Despite missing his wingman, Verstappen maintained the lead until lap 19. When he pitted and emerged back on the track in P7, thankfully it wasn't for long. In a sleek dash, Verstappen drifted past Russell, Oscar Piastri and Daniel Ricciardo to reach P3. A few laps later, he breezed past Carlos Sainz to reach P1. And despite some late safety car drama, which changed the race order, the Red Bull driver didn't bulge as he crossed the finish line to win his 16th victory of the 2023 season. "It's been another incredible season," Verstappen said. "I'm very proud of the achievement because I think after last year, when I won 15, I was like, well, if I can ever try and replicate something like that, I'll be very happy. And now we're here with 16. Obviously, the Mexican fans would have been disappointed that Sergio Perez didn't win the race, but they can take solace in the fact that the contest was won by a better driver in Max Verstappen, just like these 7 races did when they were humiliated by Verstappen.